Another thing that you pointed to that I think is important is that they need to get true information. This is something I feel very strongly about sex education.
Please tell us.
It needs to follow 3 criteria.
Okay.
One is the sex ed curriculum needs to be true. That might seem kind of obvious, but a surprising amount of sex ed actually has false information that they give to young people in the classroom, which is bad information, but also it reduces your legitimacy. If I'm going into a classroom and telling young people something that is not true, then that undermines my credibility. True is incredibly important, and a surprising amount of sex ed information is not true. The second criteria is it needs to be useful. It needs to be actually relevant to your life. It needs to be functional information. I can talk all day about the complicated protein strands on the outside of a syphilis, but who cares?
No one.
Maybe if you're a nurse, you care.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're a high school student, you probably don't care. It's not functional knowledge to making decisions about your day-to-day life.
Definitely.
So it needs to be true, it needs to be useful, and the third is that it needs to be not harmful. That also might sound obvious, but there's a surprising amount of information and misinformation that I think does more harm than good. A lot of sex ed programs, for instance, talk about how often condoms break. So when I go to a classroom to talk to kids about condoms, I'll say, well, how effective do you think they are? I get answers like 50%. They are told over and over and over again that condoms are not effective and that they break all the time. This is horrible misinformation. It is not true, and it is also harmful because it gives people no incentive to use them.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah. If it's not useful, why use it? That's
right.
like the first thing that comes to mind.
There's lots of information that I get out there that fails on a lot of these.